The regulatory arena is kind of like a football field. We've got this piece of real estate. It's 100 feet wide and 300 feet long, okay? And we need to learn how to make maximum use out of every square inch of that piece of real estate. Well, that's exactly what the sales and marketing and the legal people spend a lot of time doing. What exactly can we say? Where are the lines? And that's why we develop product materials for you guys, okay? So we know where the boundaries are, and we want to make maximum use, but we don't want to go out of bounds, because that's how companies get in trouble, and that's how individuals get in trouble. So the thing to take away from this piece of the presentation is use the materials that the company has provided, become experts on those materials, and don't go outside of those materials. In fact, there's a specific policy, and again, I'm sure I could call on somebody and they could recite section 5.12.2 to me, right? But it talks about product claims and simply, using, not developing your own product materials, using the MonaVie materials, and not going outside of them. Again, that's really, really critical. In fact, companies have been shut down for doing precisely that. How many of you guys have ever heard of a company, in fact, it was pretty close to here, it was in San Diego, called Sea Silver? It's exactly what happened. They and their distributors were making claims that they shouldn't make. FTC and the FDA came in and shut them down overnight. Next thing I want to talk about is, it's in the pyramiding arena, but it has to do with repositioning or respinning the MonaVie program. And I want to be really careful here, because I don't want to embarrass anybody, and I don't want anybody to get upset or feel like they're being picked on or persecuted. In fact, I know you guys are a very creative, very passionate, very enthusiastic group, and I really appreciate that. But we have to be very, very careful about trying to add anything or build a MonaVie business in any way that's substantially different from the way that the company has set it out. And I believe it's pretty popular here in Southern California, is a program, it's called Diamond Rockets. And again, please forgive me, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody. I understand it's been very popular here. Let me just read some of the salient provisions for you, and then we'll talk about why they're problematic. It says the following is the criteria for becoming a member of this particular program. If you decide to join this elite group and follow the procedure, you have the potential to be a black diamond within 8 weeks or less. In order to do so, you must, 1, commit to a 2-case auto ship per month, plus purchasing 1 bulk order of 12 cases per month. This would mean a total investment of $1,353 for the first month. 2, you must be prepared to buy 1 12-case bulk order each month after the inception of this program. This will ensure your continued residual income. And again, I'm sure the folks who developed this are very, very well-meaning. Going black diamond in 10 weeks or 3 months, that's a phenomenal thing to do. But we've got to be very, very careful in the way in which we do that. Every state in the union has an anti-pyramiding law on the books. And the challenge with this type of a program is it's very, very easy for it to violate anti-pyramiding laws. A pyramid is defined as a program in which participants receive compensation that's derived primarily, but not exclusively, whether directly or indirectly, from the introduction of additional participants into the program, okay? As opposed to multi-level marketing, which is a program in which participants receive compensation that's derived primarily, but again, not exclusively, from the sale of goods or services to end consumers. And one of the oldest ways in which pyramids have proliferated has been via a practice known as inventory loading. And this is, the fact pattern is one in which, step number 1 is recruit a participant. Step number 2 is get them to buy a large amount of products. And sometimes that large amount of products, in the minds of the regulators, isn't even $1,000. And typically it's just a one-time purchase rather than a recurring purchase. And then step number 3 is getting the new participant to repeat that process. So again, I'm not telling you that this violates anti-pyramiding laws, but it presents a substantial risk. And again, Section 2.2 of the Policies and Procedures specifically addresses kind of redoing the MonaVie program. So I encourage you guys to check that out. Finally, I want to just talk about partnering with compliance. I'm a foster parent, and I've had the privilege to foster 16 kids over the years. And one of my kids right now is a lot of these kids have major issues, and in fact, one of my kids has been committed to the Idaho Department of Juvenile Corrections. But it's a good thing. He needs it. He's got massive issues that are way beyond my ability. But the program that they have is phenomenal. And one of the things that they do, and one of the things that helps these kids, is they don't sweep anything under the carpet ever. They deal with every issue, and they deal with it immediately. The problem with sweeping things under the carpet is, over time, that lump gets so big that eventually people start tripping over it, and they start breaking bones over it. And so sweeping things under the carpet isn't good. It's not good for them, and it's not good for you guys. And so to that end, I want to encourage you to get proactive about compliance and to partner with the company in addressing compliance issues. If you see someone in your organization who's doing something or saying something that they shouldn't be doing, call them on it. Hold them accountable, okay? You are the eyes and the ears of the company. Let me tell you what the paradigm of the regulators and the courts is. Their mindset is, hey, you better do something about them or we'll do something about you, okay? So it's a lot easier, a lot cheaper, if you guys will take care of that. Also, how many of you guys have ever been involved with a network marketing company before? How many of you guys have been involved with 5 or more, or interacted with 5 or more? 10 or more? 100 or more? 300 or more? Okay, I've had the privilege to advise, interact with, counsel hundreds and hundreds of companies, not only throughout the U.S. but from around the world. And the reason that I mention that is I want to give you guys a little bit of perspective about MonaVie and what you're dealing with. Okay. Not a lot of companies invite their lawyers to come talk with their distributors. That single fact alone speaks volumes about this company and the company's ethics and the company's vision for longevity. It speaks volumes. You guys, I want to leave you with a thought that you're involved with something very, very precious and very, very rare. And it's worthy of your protection, okay? It's worthy of your safeguarding. And I just want to challenge you guys to do that. Thank you so much for the privilege of talking with you.
Thank you, Kevin. I've known Kevin for about 15 years, and he's arguably the leading attorney in the United States, or the world in that matter, when it comes to regulatory affairs and direct selling or network marketing. And I want you to hear it from my mouth. I'm not going to allow any distributor to put in jeopardy this company for you and your families, period. Period. And I'll tell you something else. If you find this product on eBay and you buy it, you will die. It will poison you. By the way, that brochure, I haven't seen that yet. That's very troubling to me. Operate within the football field that Kevin talked about, and it's his responsibility to make sure you do. He's not an employee. He's independent from the company. We did that for a purpose. We said, Kevin, make sure that we have our distributors participating with and agreeing and abiding by our P's and P's, and when they're not, we have methods to follow to make sure that people do. So, but listen, I know that probably over 90% of infractions to the P's and P's, and it's a rare number of people that do it, they're innocent, they haven't read the policies and procedures and have them memorized like Kevin does. But use the income disclosure form, okay, that's why we created it. Get online, become familiar, like Jeff Graham talked about what you can say about the product. And do not create tools, okay? That tool is unapproved. You have to be a black diamond to create a tool, and it has to be approved before you use it. So that's a blatant violation of the policies and procedures. Let me take a poll. Are you with me on this, that we're going to secure this company and do it the right way? Okay. I think that's a mandate. That's a mandate.